When it comes to next-gen gaming, the elusive PlayStation 5 and Series X feel like the obvious choices, but their scarcity and high price tag is going to put a lot of people off, and if you're one of those, then this video is for you. It's important to note that budget doesn't mean cheap, bad, or even inferior. It just means financially accessible and being a conscious consumer, depending on your needs. There are absolutely people out there spending $500, $600, $700, $800 on consoles and PC parts that they don't even fully utilize. Firstly, you could argue that these systems haven't even hit their stride yet. There's a few great games out there. The PlayStation 5 has my 2021 Game of the Year with Returnal. For Souls fans, you've got the brilliant remake of Demon's Souls from Bluepoint, along with PlayStation 5's best-selling game to date, Spider-Man Miles Morales. More recently, we got games like Horizon Forbidden West, but a lot of the next big hitters are like 6 months to a year away. Games like Forspoken, God of War Ragnarok, Hogwarts Legacy, and plenty of other unannounced Sony first-party games. It's the same story on the Xbox side of things. A lot of their acquired studios are yet to show their hand, and those that have all seem unlikely to release their games this year. On top of that, Xbox's big holiday game Starfield has been delayed till 2023. There is an argument here that Xbox isn't firing on all cylinders right now, especially when it comes to AAA catalogs, and they might be relying a little too much on the goodwill that Game Pass has brought them over the last few years. Now, I think in the past I would have said wait a little bit, wait a little longer, wait for those libraries to build out and flourish. But there is a way to get the best of both worlds. You can play what is available right now, games like Halo Infinite and Forza, and plenty of other AAA games, as well as a brilliant selection of indies, while also being ready to play those big releases in 2023 and beyond. I'm of course talking about the Xbox Series S. Now, I primarily play on PlayStation 5 and PC, but when my girlfriend really wanted to get back into games after nearly 6 years of not playing, this seemed like the perfect time to explore the Xbox ecosystem and what it had to offer. Sure, you miss out on those coveted PlayStation 5 first-party games, the ones we all love, your God of Wars, your Last of Us's, your Wolverines, your Spider-Mans. But when we looked across the market, the Series S, along with Game Pass, was by far the best option to get the most out of the next generation of gaming at the lowest price. To date, this trusty little console has been used just as much as my PlayStation 5, not only to game on, but also as a general media platform. Twitch, YouTube, Netflix, Disney+, Apple TV, like everything in between. The entire reason you're here is the price, and for £250 or $300, the next-gen experience can be yours. Now, this does come with some caveats. I think you need Game Pass with this to make it a viable choice. It is a digital-only console, it doesn't have a disc drive, and for less than a Netflix subscription, you get the entire Game Pass library, which at this point is around 463 games, according to Xbox. Now, there's some genuinely brilliant games in there, anything from sim racers to sports games to just genuinely Game of the Year contender style games, all the way down to your indies and cheaper games. For $10.99, you get Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold. I think this is just a steal, and it's been a steal for a couple of years now. What you'll find is even players that play on PC or PlayStation 5 or Xbox, even if it's their like secondary console, people will pick up the Series S just for Game Pass. The Series S is also a brilliantly engineered console. I don't think I've ever heard the fans kick in on this thing. It uses the same CPU as the Series X, as well as the same SSD, although it is half the size from 1TB to 500GB, but in terms of product design, in terms of everything all together, I wouldn't be shocked if someone wanted this to be the more powerful console because it looks so good. It's a compact piece of kit that can sit in any room in the house and just blend in. So what are you losing out on for that extra $200 to $300 price difference? Well, the Series X does 120 frames per second at native 4K, while the Series S does 120 FPS at 1440p with the ability to upscale. If I've lost you there and you're like, whoa, that's too techie for me, 120 watt, 1440 watt, this is the console for you. Most people probably aren't used to seeing native 4K at 120 FPS, so it's debatable what kind of loss this actually is to you. You would also need a TV or monitor able to output 4K at 120 FPS, which is an extra cost all on its own. And I think that really starts to get away from the idea of a budget next-gen gaming setup. And while this isn't PC territory, it's definitely getting too much to be called budget. If this console is for teens or someone that isn't techie that wouldn't know the difference between 1080p, 1440p or 4K, and they're upgrading from last generation, or they're used to using games that are running at 30 FPS or 60 FPS, then this console is absolutely for them. Xbox has seemingly ensured that the Series S will be supported for 5, 6, 7 years with all of the same games as the Series X, along with most accessories, if not all, working for both. So even if you eventually upgraded in the future, you don't have to rebuy everything. At $250 to $300 across 6 years, it works out to be like £3.50 or $4 a month, And with a lot of games taking the limelight being free to play these days, games like Fortnite, Warzone, League of Legends, Valorant, Dota, you can rest a little easier knowing that to play the best, you won't necessarily be spending $50 or $60 every single month on new games. I highly recommend this console. Please enjoy the purchase, and I'll see you down in the comments for questions and debate.